Connecticut Myths and Legends is an exhibit. It's been a big project for the Connecticut River Museum over about a 4-year period. It's been a series of programming as well as culminating in this major exhibit that we've done. So it's been exploring the folklore of the Connecticut River Valley from source all the way up to the Connecticut Lakes, all the way down to the Sound here in Connecticut. Some of the smaller projects that we've done include Halloween theatrical performance called Haunted River. That was a pilot program. We tested it out in 2016 and we had very good responses to it.
Well, the fun thing about Haunted River is we focus on stories that are a little known. There are a lot of history buffs in the area. There's a lot of theater lovers. There's a lot of people that love to do stuff, spooky stuff at Halloween. This kind of ties it all together. And what we like the production to be is surprising and unexpected, like not just in the quality of the performance and the sets and the costumes, but in the storytelling. In the first scene, the audience is introduced to their tour guide, who takes them through the remaining scenes, and the whole tour is about 50 minutes long.
It's a progressive play where tours go through our entire campus, so they'll go into at least 2 buildings, the Historic Lay House and our museum building, and also they might encounter a few characters out on our lawn or in our parking lot or something like that, so out on the deck also. So it goes all over the campus, and people love it because they never know what they're going to see or what they're going to encounter every time they turn around.
There are many stories that many people have not heard of, and we try to wiggle out those stories in history and then focus on them so people learn more about where they live and the very rich history of the Connecticut River Valley.
It was a different way to learn about some of these myths and legends that we were researching and trying to see if people really wanted to know more about them. And through the theatrical performances, we discovered people loved them. They loved spooky stories, mystery stories, all kinds of the darker side of the myths and legends along the river. If you come to the exhibit, you're going to find stories that you may be familiar with, but you also are going to discover things you didn't know about before, and some of those might be myths and legends from a little further up the river. And so you might learn a little bit about your region, about the river itself. So you'll discover stories from all up and down the river. The 3 sections of the exhibit are Extraordinary People and Events. That's a section that is based on real events, actual people, actual things that happen in history that over time get told and retold so much they get exaggerated and become larger than life. Another section is Powers of Darkness, and that's a section that takes all those scarier stories, the darker stories, the ones that kind of make us either creep us out, or those are stories that still we love to tell. We love to hear them and we love to tell them. And then Supernatural Wonders is our last section, and that's about these fantastical creatures that sometimes create important landmarks like mountains. Mount Sugarloaf is a story that we tell in the Great Beaver story. And creatures like the sea serpent that lives in the Connecticut River and other natural wonders. This is different because it is an exhibit about folklore, and as a curator that can be a challenge. Folklore is really stories, it's oral tradition, and sometimes that's hard to put in a visual artifact-laden display. Some of these stories do have artifacts that go along with them. Some stories do not have artifacts that go along with them. How do you find an artifact about the Moodus noises? We had artists come and do some beautiful renderings for us. We had folklorists come and tell some of the stories instead of visually representing them. So it was a challenge to sometimes display these stories in full flower in many different levels and cycles that they go through.
We hope to make Haunted River a regular annual event, And we also hope to add theater as a way of finessing some of the many programs that the museum has to offer. For instance, we had a guided tour by the curator, Amy Trout.
We did 2 in an evening, so we take a group around, we show them highlights of the exhibit, we have really great discussions.
And we underscored that tour with a performance, a reprise of the Dummerston Vampire scene that we did last year.
And the Dummerston Vampires is a story about a family in Vermont that succumbs to tuberculosis, but they don't know what it is. All they know is family member after family member is dying. And it was a wonderful performance, very lively, full of drama and melodrama, and the actors were terrific. And so it was a nice combination of sort of a standard tour and then kind of a fun theatrical performance.
The vampire vine, continually searching for the heartbeat of its next victim! Perfect! I think it's looking for your heartbeat. Do you have a heartbeat? I think you do!
So there are hundreds of hours involved in creating Haunted River, from the actors who volunteer their time to the staff many are part-time at the museum and they give extra hours to support this project. And also the crew who work behind the scenes to do the special effects and to create the sets and the costume and everything that it takes. One thing that's so amazing and touching to me is the quality of the cast and crew, the people who come and give their time and their expertise and their talent to making this production high quality.
The cast is very dedicated, fun-loving group. They're volunteering their time and their effort, and they all seem to really enjoy getting some theatrical experience under their belt and helping out a good cause.
It's really expanded my repertoire in theater. I've learned parts that I can play now, which I probably couldn't play before, which is really nice.
My favorite part is kind of the spookiness of kind of the production that we're doing, so it's kind of nice that this is more spooky and a bit more mature.
I like to enjoy interacting with the audience and being part of a collaborative effort to put the whole thing together.
I love doing Haunted River. It is so much fun, and it brings together 2 things I love, which is history and theater. And that's what makes this production so different and so appealing to so many people.
I love the idea of taking what's true and retelling it. It's fascinating, the people that have lived here and the things that they've done. It's just fascinating. The people who we think led ordinary lives did extraordinary things. And I think that's my most favorite thing about Connecticut.